And here we are. Welcome, everybody, to Your Health Matters, where we address issues that concern achieving and optimizing our health. My name is Judy Feldhausen. I'm a holistic health practitioner, and I've been involved in cardiovascular health since, oh gosh, over a dozen years now. And I've recently expanded my practice to include not only gut health, but discovering root causes of disease. I practice with the Cardio Wellness Group using ancient technologies and modern science to help you optimize your health. We focus using our tri level approach of meals, mind, and movement. And today we're going to focus on movement. This is so great. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank
Uh,
you for having me.
yeah, Michelle Smith is an advocate for improving mobility for people of all ages. And she educates and she empowers her clients to understand the why and the how of keeping themselves stronger and healthier, using intentional methods that may be traditional for some people, but they're natural. And that's what I really like about Michelle. She also helps them work from the inside out and helps them overcome their negative and self talk. And so, why don't we go ahead and get started, Michelle? I'm so excited to be here. I see you're in the gym today.
I am, fortunately enough, when you love what you do, right? It's never work, but and today is my start late day, right? Usually I'm starting at 5 a.m. training people, and so I didn't even start till 8 if you don't count my online workout that I did in my Facebook group. But I am, and so I was blessed to have a time that we got to schedule this in, and so it's not that it's unprofessional because this is my profession, but it looks like I slack all day when you say I live at the gym. I'm at the gym every day. So
Well, that's not slacking if you're at the gym every day. But how did you start all this? I mean, what got you into, helping people like this?
that's a great question. Um, Everything that I've done for the past, I don't know how many years, 20 plus, right? Because I spent 20 years in healthcare before I went out on my own. Everything I did was always to help people, right? To bring value to their life, improve the quality of their life. I worked in a physician's office, and it was close to home in reality. It wasn't because that's where I wanted to be, but it was close to home, right? And then I started working for a chiropractor. And this was when I was in my 20s, young 20s. Worked for a chiropractor, learned how to do x-ray, learned a ton about the natural healing process of the body when things are in alignment and working right, which you and I totally vibe, and we have a ton of things to talk about. And I realized then what I loved about that and what was so different than what you just hear in traditional healthcare. And then I went from there being a board certified orthotic fitter, so that I mostly focused on mastectomy, right? And you cannot replace that feeling, I should say, when a woman feels whole again. When you've lost a part of your body, and for women, and not to sound rude or anything, but for women, our hair and our breasts and how our body looks in our clothes is very much how we identify and how we feel confident, right? And so it goes from the head down, from the inside out. But nothing can replace how rewarding that is. And I don't mean to sound selfish, but in reality, when you've had a woman who's in her 80s and lost her breast years ago when they were radical, not nice surgeries, and she has a bra that fits well, and when her clothes are on, she feels like $1,000,000 and she feels whole again. You can't change that. And nothing can ever take that away. And that's when I kind of really realized, and I was in my mid 20s, and that was an aha moment for me that was God's calling, and in some way, shape, or form was to serve people. And so I did that for several years, and then I became that chain's marketing director. They sold, and then that calling took me to market for hospice. Hospice is a great thing, but I also realized about 5 years in that I wasn't serving. I wasn't doing what I was called to do, but I was selling a business. And you hear that you got 3 years. And I just remember running one day because at about 2016, I had that awakening of you better take care of yourself and you better start doing the things I asked you to do because you got a young daughter that's watching you.
Mhm.
And I didn't, uh, I didn't, I didn't want her to have some of the health problems that I had. So, a little small disclosure: I had a DVT at 17 and almost died. So, yeah, and then you have four more later, and so by the grace of God here, and haven't had any problems since then. But I realized that I was not showing my daughter, right, the best healthy lifestyle. And I have a full belief that we're always in a season for a reason. And I knew that I was at the chiropractor and the doctors and I was doing all of the DME things because one, it brought value to others, but it was also so that I understood what I needed to do for my grandparents, who are a major part of my life and my daughter's life, and for my parents and my in-laws, right? And so running one day, I was like, okay, God, I just don't understand what is in 3 years. Like, people on the street probably thought I was nuts because you just stop and cry, right? And it was, in 3 years, you'll be at a job for 10 years that you don't love. It's not serving. And in 3 years, your daughter's going to be finishing the 10th grade and your time is ticking, right? And I was like, okay, I don't know what it is I'm going to be doing, but I trust you. So COVID came, and I was already working on training people in my house. I had made a huge shift internally for myself and for others. I was training 3 ladies in my basement and decided to get my certification. And then COVID hit. So you can't do your regular JOB. And then I had that realization that I had 1 year left. And I got
Mhm.
super intentional of learning as much as I could about the anatomy and gut health. Not that I know, because we can never retain as much as we want, but gut health and what I could do to serve. And I worked myself out of a JOB and went full time in my side hustle. Um, January, February of 21, and making sure that I'm serving people, because in reality, people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they want an option that's going to bring quality of life. And nobody goes through life saying, oh, I think I'll retire and just sit in my chair and waste away. We all have lives we want to live. We want to show up as the best version of ourselves. And if you are strong internally, mentally, spiritually, physically, all those things, your life quality changes dramatically. Then you have an amped life. So that's a short synopsis of a very long story.
That's amazing. And I love your physical journey, but really, also, I love that you are doing this also to be an example for your
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
And, for me too, being able to leave a legacy of integrity and health and um, connectedness with my children and my grandchildren, it's what gets me to get up in the morning,
Yeah.
and continue to move forward every day, because
Absolutely.
they are so important. So
Absolutely.
your program is different than anything else I've seen before.
Okay.
um, well, you've got that app, which is very, very, it's amazing for one thing, but I haven't really seen an app like that before for
Yeah.
your clients. Could you explain about that app?
Sure. Sure. So, um, I had a vision when I started this and kind of like totally realized, like, I'm going all in. I'm not going to be selling anything anymore and marketing it. I'm going to be investing in people. And I had this vision of being able to virtually train people, because I kept saying, God, I want to help people all over the world, even though I had no clue what that meant. None. This is in 2019, which is far above, like, that was outside of the box. COVID changed everything in that virtual training side of things. But I knew then what I wanted to do. And I also knew that in order to, so my daughter plays select softball, graduated this year and went on to play college ball, which is ultimately, that was the goal. But when you're investing in your kids at that level, you travel a lot. And so I knew I had to be able to do something if I wanted to be able to be the present mom that I was striving to be. Because when you work salary for somebody, you're you're on the clock all the time. And then I also knew that eventually, right, she would play college, and I didn't want to miss anything then. And so I got very, very blessed and busy in person. And so now, as she's at college, I have time to go back and really focus on that vision, because what I wanted was something unique and brought a lot of what I already do in person to them. And so I got to partner with a couple different people. And so I have an app that basically they can do at home, take to the gym if they're traveling, right? Because ultimately if we have a job that takes us out on the road a lot, even if by choice or by circumstance, right? You don't want to sacrifice your goals and your health. And we know what um, windshield time, flight time, hotel room time, and eating out can do. It can wreak havoc on our gut system, but also our mindset and our health. And so I really wanted to bring value there. And so it makes it super easy for them to see, here's what your workout is. If you don't know what that movement is, here's a click the button and you can watch that exercise, because in reality, I'm pretty non-traditional. I don't follow the rules very well. Just saying. But in
I like
reality, it's not about just throwing a workout together and, oh, let's just do this, like following the Vic Tanny trainer on the jazzercise videos, right? It's not like that. It's created for them, their goals, their capabilities are, and really assessing, right? I had a shoulder injury, I had shoulder surgery, I had a knee surgery, whatever, and making sure that they can incorporate better mobility, stretching, and then have the appropriate progression over time, or how they are set up their program, what it is that they're wanting to do, so that one, they can do it. Two, like our brain likes to be able to check off that we did it or that we did it well, right? And so that allows them to see what they're doing versus just watching a video, and they can work at their own pace. They can also note in there the weights that they did, what was challenging, what was hard. This didn't feel right. Okay, shoot me a video of it. Okay, so let's work on keeping those shoulder blades back, bring that core in tight. Then I can be very much involved, but yet they can also see what they're doing without having to guess or Google. It's all right there for them. And then that allows us then to also set up an accountability call weekly and biweekly, kind of depending on what they want, so that we can also address some of that negative talk, and we talk to ourselves the most. Does it mean that we're the kindest to ourselves? So,
that's true. That's true. I've heard that we have about 180,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are repeats.
yeah. And I would be curious what the percentage is that is not always nice to ourselves.
Yeah, probably another 90%, right? Unless we're focusing and we actually know how to start controlling those thoughts and
Absolutely.
can adjust them. And um, in my coaching, I learned something called a pivotal moment, and it's the space between the event and the response.
Yeah,
And that pivotal moment makes such a big difference because that's where you have choice.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and how much what we think about, and nutrition is not just what we put into our mouth. It's what we think about, it's what we watch, what we read, what we listen to. And so a lot of times that behavior pattern also starts with, typically what we think about the first 90 minutes of the day sets the tone. But if we're already negative here, and then what we're watching or listening to, what we're talking about, whatever's in our heart's going to come out, but then it ultimately affects how we eat. If we're in a crappy thought pattern, I guarantee you're going to down that gallon of ice cream or drink that bottle of wine. And then you're going to be mad, you're going to be depressed, you're going to be frustrated with yourself. And then it's this vicious cycle. And so that's one of the things when we're doing that accountability call. Okay, so like you've missed 3 workouts this week. What's going on? Okay, well, I was traveling and yada, yada, yada. Okay, got it. Well, my daughter lost her baby. My mom's in the hospital. Okay, so we have a lot of traumatic things going on. Okay, so let's get back to square one. Let's get a why that's bigger than your circumstances.
Mhm.
And let's also pivot of, did you take your phone with you? Was there a reason why you didn't have the app handy with you? Or was everything like during COVID, right? The hotel gyms weren't open and stuff like that. So like being able to really help them understand some of their patterns Well, I had a fight with my husband. Well, so we all fight with our husband, right? Okay, so really what was the trigger? Like, because there's more to it. Oh, I'm just too busy. No, there's more to it. Quit using certain excuses that have always allowed you to get away with it, and be accountable to yourself, because you told me this is what you wanted to accomplish in 3 months. Right. And so a lot of times it's what we think about or what we feed to. But when we get in that kind of traumatic moment or chaos, we revert to those old patterns. And so a lot of times it's a matter of them having to talk about that, or being talk about their frustration from poor habits before, that is keeping them from feeling like they can do the things in the app or do those exercises or stay committed because they've given up on themselves before, whatever the case may be. But it
Yeah,
all starts here.
yeah, absolutely. And feel deserving.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if in the past you've been talked negatively to, had a spouse or a partner that really degraded, or every time you tried to do something that bettered yourself really knocked you down, sometimes you just expect to keep being knocked down, and they lack that confidence to keep going on, especially if they worked with a program and they failed every time they've done it, and that's what happens with fad diets. So don't get me started on that either.
I know, me too. Me too. We can talk for hours.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so who's the person that seeks you out?
Well, um, in person, I'll say I have quite a few athletes that train with me, especially softball girls, and that's just because that niche that I was in, and they or their parents know me. I work with a couple basketball players, and because in reality, they're wanting more, right? They're planning on being a collegiate player. They want to have good mobility, they want to have good strength, and they want to be confident in the weight room, because they don't always get that kind of guidance in high school, and that's just part of it's just you got 150 kids or in your class. So, anyways, and then, but online and remote, I would say that busy mom, that busy exec, the one that in reality they want to have someone that's going to hold them accountable, that's going to show them, that's going to teach them what it is they need to do, that's going to make that process easier. And typically it rains. It's locked. It's typically it ranges from that 30-year-old to the 55, right? Those achievers and the ones that are wanting to invest, but they need someone to help them have structure and accountability, and that they know that if they don't do this, they're just going to continue being not happy. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but in reality, they've been procrastinating. I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that, but I'm not comfortable going to the gym. Or when I get to the gym, I don't know what to do. And basically, I just kind of like look around. I'm like, oh, I think I'll do that one. Oh, I think. And then this way they have structure and they can see that progression. And then they can also watch their strength, core strength, all of those things change. But if they've had injuries and surgeries, they're very gun shy to start doing a workout, because they're like, I don't know what can I do. Well, you're not going to do anything if we don't start working and strengthening and that mobility and the tendons and ligaments in there, because by all means we want to start from the ground up. And I'd say that most of my clients online are busy moms, execs. I don't mean just moms. I trained a couple guys online, executives, and those that want accountability, but they don't necessarily want to go to a gym or work with someone there in their hometown. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned about busy execs and people saying, "Well, I didn't have time because I was too busy." So are there things that people can do like when they're at work?
Sure. I thought of a couple different mobility exercises, because we are in the age of text neck and being on the computer. And the more I'm on the computer with clients, the more my occiput and C1 have to be adjusted, because I'm not used to being here. I'm used to being up. And so, elevating my laptop, I'm quite savvy. I've got a 30-inch box step and two weighted plates as my tabletop. You got to be
Oh my
creative.
God.
But so I put together a couple hip, shoulder, and back um, exercises that you can do right now. And I thought
Oh,
that would
let's
be nice
do
and
that.
easy for you.
Can we do that?
And because we get tight in the upper back, especially if you are at a desk all the time or you drive, if you've got a lot of windshield time, you typically feel that same tension through there. So I'm going to adjust
So,
this.
so let's pause for just a moment
Yeah.
because there's people watching us live here,
Yeah.
or they'll see the tape after. So let's get them in the place
Okay.
to do this.
All right. So if you are sitting, fine. If you are standing, this is fine because we're going to work on some shoulder mobility, but I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see me a little bit better.
Okay.
All right. So we are going to bring our arms up out in front of us, thumbs up, kind of be like Fonzie. For those of us who remember and know who Fonzie are, right? So,
Right.
right. So I want you to extend them out as far as possible. That you're at 100% exertion, and then revert that to about 60. Okay. So a little bit relaxed in the shoulders, right? But we still have a lot of tension. Arms are straight, shoulders or elbows are locked out, right? So we're going to raise our shoulder blades up, push them back, push them down, and push them forward, right? Feel that again. Push them up, push them back. You're squeezing those shoulder blades together, push them down, and push your arms out forward. And you'll feel that again as we go up and we go back, down, and forward. And you can feel that stretch in the rhomboids between your shoulder blades. Now we're going to reverse it and we're going to go down, back, up, and forward. Down, back, up, and forward. Last time. Down, back, up, and forward. So which one was harder, the first one or the second one?
The second one.
Right. And everybody is different. A lot of it depends on what they do. But when we are extended forward, you really feel that stretch between the shoulder blades where we get tight, right? And it allows you to put all four ranges of motion through your shoulders. And if you notice that you can't do one of those very well, it shows some immobility that you have in your shoulders. And a lot of it too, when we're here a lot, right, then we start kind of slumping forward. Right. Not that I would accuse anybody of that, but that is one of those things that you can really stretch through that upper back. I usually have my clients do 10 to 20 of them with every workout, just because it allows that mobility. And we typically hold our stress in our traps, right? And they get tight. And so that locks down those shoulder blades. All right. So I'm going to stand up just so So my fancy bench is my chair. So if you are at your desk, you can use your desk or the back of the chair, right, for height. And we're going to work on some hip mobility. This is the very first progression of that. And this is what it's like 40 degrees here. The heat kicked on. And so people are hot when they come in. Right. So you're going to be standing on your left foot, and you can use this for your balance. So we're going to bring your knee. Oops, hang on. Let me change this so we can see better. There we go. All right. So we're going to bring our knee up, and I'm going to keep my ankle flexed. You're going to bring your knee up as high as you can. You're going to rotate it out. Yeah. That's why I need something to hang on to. Turn your knee in your hip. You're going to press back and down. Good. Back, squeeze your butt muscle, come out and up and around. Feel tight in your hip?
Yeah, I kind of do these all the time.
Yes, good, right? They're great. These are a great beginner hip rotation. It really helps the tendons and the ligaments through the hip, right? Down. We're going to go back as you squeeze that glute muscle, coming up and back around. Good. We're going to do two more, and then we'll switch legs. Keeping that ankle flex is imperative. It puts movement in all three joints of that kinetic chain. Good. Back, out, and around. Good. And last one, ankles flexed and the knee is up. Out, turn. This is the biggest thing for people that turn through that hip joint. Down, back, out, and around. So we're going to do the other leg. Good. We're going to come up. I'm going to shift myself out, up, out, turn the knee. This is my tight hip. Back and down, back, up, and around. It's almost like trying to take your leg up over a horse. Up, out, turn, press back, down. Good. And I have yet to meet anyone that says, "Oh, both hips are the same. They either are great or everyone has one that moves better than the other." Good. Judy, you asked me my why. That's my beautiful why. That's Roman in the back. Good.
That's awesome.
All right. How's the hips feel?
Yeah, loosened up a little bit.
Right. All right. So
One more, and then
Yep,
we've got to go.
yep. Let's do our mid back. We're always tight through here, right?
Okay.
We got that hunchback from sitting at the good. So you're going to get big, like you're trying to hug a ball, right? We're going to get big, and you're going to rotate forward, really emphasizing big through the shoulders. You're going to rotate to the side, open up the rib muscles to stand up straight, to the other side, and forward. We only bend at the middle of the back, but getting movement and stretch through those intercostal muscles can relieve some tension in that mid back.
Yeah, I can feel that.
I don't think people realize they have muscles between the ribs, but they do. And we get compressed after sitting for so long. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And these are things that anyone can do,
absolutely.
not even at a gym.
No. And they're a great warm-up movement, because if you've been stiff and driving or standing, right, or you're just getting up, absolutely, you need to get some movement. And so those are just a few of the things that I incorporate in everybody's warm-up just to get them moving correctly and throughout other activities.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Yes.
This
Thank
has
you
been
for
so
having
much
me. It has
fun.
been yes, blessed to do what I do, but it's been great us being able to connect and just bring everything that we are passionate about together.
Absolutely. And I highly recommend Michelle. Michelle, can you share your contact information with our audience?
Sure. Absolutely. Website is ampedlifestyle.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Amped Lifestyle by Michelle Smith. My cell phone is 573-760-9931. Sometimes that's just easier to communicate. I'm a people person, so I would much rather talk to you and feel that energy and truly be able to do that versus text, because so many things get misinterpreted. So always a pleasure to be able to be on here with you, Judy.
Oh, thank you, Michelle, very, very much. And so we're going to close today right on time here. And here at Your Health Matters, we're here to just get you up and moving and doing things that are going to make you feel better. So everyone, go ahead and have a great day, because remember, the best day to start working on your health is today.
It's today.
So take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.